Shalom, and welcome to V'ahavta Yisrael, a Hebrew phrase which means, you shall love Israel. We hope you'll stay with us for the next 30 minutes as our teacher, Dr. Baruch, shares his expository teaching from the Bible. Dr. Baruch is the senior lecturer at the Zera Avraham Institute based in Israel. Although all courses are taught in Hebrew at the Institute, Dr. Baruch is pleased to share this weekly address in English. To find out more about our work in Israel, please visit us on the web at LoveIsrael.org. That's one word, LoveIsrael.org. Now, here's Baruch with today's lesson.
We see now that the tabernacle is being dedicated. And I made mention last week that it's not by chance that all 12 tribes are participating in that dedication service. And we see that the leader of each tribe brought an offering. They were demonstrating their faith, demonstrating that they belong to God, and they brought all the same offering. Now, there were many parts of that offering. We've seen that last week, and we're going to continue our third week in looking at what is being offered and seeing that consistency of the offering. Why? Well, we all have a worship experience. And even though it's a similar worship experience, that outcome of worship can manifest itself differently for each individual. So look with me to where we left off last week. I'm talking about the book of Numbers, chapter 7, and we're ready now for verse 54. We're going to begin with that 8th day. Now, notice 12 days of dedication, not just 7 relating to a week, but 12. And most scholars see the fact that the number 12 being a kingdom number, speaking about the kingdom people of God, shouldn't surprise us that there were 12 days of dedication. Look now, as I said, to verse 54, where we read, "And on the 8th day, a president," this is the president of the children of Manasseh, and what was his name? Gamliel, the son of Pedahzur. Now, that name is important. All the names have significance, but I just want to point out that the word tzur is a word for rock, like the rock of our salvation. Oftentimes, that word points to Messiah. And then we have a hint, because the word pedah is related to the work of redemption. So our rock, the rock of our salvation, Messiah Yeshua, is going to do the work of redemption. And tabernacle worship, and then the temple worship that followed, all had to do with a kingdom experience, bringing us into a kingdom reality. Read on where it says, verse 55, "His offering, 1 silver platter, 130 its weight, and 1 silver basin, 70 shekels, according to the holy shekel," that is the temple shekel, the shekel that was used for religious purposes. And it says both of these things, both of them, were full of finely ground flour mixed with oil for a grain offering. Verse 56. "And 1 golden spoon of 10, meaning 10 shekels, full of incense, and 1 bull, the son of cattle, 1 ram, 1 sheep, 1 year old, for a burnt offering, and a goat offering, 1 goat offering, for a sin offering." Verse 59. Now, remember what I said last week, that this peace offering, the word peace is in the plural, so it signifies abundant peace being the outcome. And it says, the peace sacrifice, 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 goats, 5 sheep, 1 year old. This is the offering of Gamliel, the son of Pedahzur. Now we're ready for the 9th day. And notice what it says here. It's the same identical content. but we see something unique. Look at verse 60. On the 9th day, a president of the children of Benjamin, and what was his name? Avidan, the son of Gidoni. His offering, 1 silver platter, 130 its weight in shekels. 1 silver basin, 70 shekels its weight in the holy shekel. Then it says both of them were full of finely ground flour mixed with oil for a grain sacrifice. Verse 62. 1 golden spoon, 10, meaning 10 shekels, full of incense. 1 bull, the son of cattle. 1 ram. 1 sheep, 1 year old, for a burnt offering. Verse 64. 1 goat for a sin offering. And in regard to the peace offering, 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 goats, 5 sheep, 1 year old. And this was the offering of Avidan, the son of Gidoni. Now, there's that consistency. But notice, we find that names are important. And when we look here, we find that name, Gamliel, or in this case, Avidan, which means my father will judge, the son of Gidoni. And we find here that God, he will judge thoroughly. That name, Gidoni, has to do, the implication is a thorough judgment. And it's only through worship and being fit for worship that we can expect a different outcome. That God will justify, that he will declare us to be righteous, and that he will reward us, and that we will be transformed into the perfection of God. That only comes through not the tabernacle service, but rather the service that Messiah accomplished as our great high priest. Move now to our next passage, and this is verse 66, where it says, on the 10th day, a president for the children of Dan, his name is Achiezer, the son of Ammishaddai, the son of my people are sufficient. It says here, his offering, 1 golden platter, 130 grams its weight, 1 silver basin, 70 grams its weight, or 70 shekels its weight, according to the holy shekel, the shekel in the temple. And then it says, both of them were full of finely ground flour mixed with oil for a grain offering. 1 golden spoon, 10, meaning 10 shekels, full of incense. And 1 bull, the son of cattle. 1 ram. 1 sheep, the son of 1 year old, a 1 year old sheep, for a burnt offering. 1 goat for a sin offering. And then again, how it always concludes, a peace offering, 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 goats, 5 sheep, the son of 1 year old. This is the offering of Achiezer, the son of Ammishaddai. Verse 72. And on the 10th day, the president for the children of Asher, or the sons of Asher, and his name was Pagiel ben Ochran. His offering, 1 silver platter, 130 shekels its weight. 1 silver basin, 70 shekels its weight, according to the holy shekel. Both of them full of finely ground flour mixed with oil for a grain offering. And 1 golden spoon, full of incense. 1 bull, the son of cattle, 1 ram, 1 sheep, 1 year old for a burnt offering, and 1 goat for a sin offering. And then again it concludes with a peace offering and a peace sacrifice. 1 or 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 goats, 5 sheep, 1 year old. This is the offering of Pagiel ben Ochran. Now we're ready for the last day, the 12th day. On the 12th day, the president of the children or sons of Naphtali, Achira ben Enan, his offering, 1 silver platter, 130 shekels, its weight, 1 silver basin, 70 shekels in weight. And this was according to the holy shekel. Both of them were full of finely ground flour mixed with oil for a burnt offering. 1 golden spoon, 10 shekels, full of incense. Verse 81. 1 bull, 1 year old, the son of cattle, 1 ram, 1 sheep, the son of a year-old sheep. Verse 82. 1 goat for a sin offering. And then finally, for the peace offering, it says 2 bulls, 5 rams, 5 goats, these would be male goats, and 5 sheep, 1 year old. This is the offering of Achira ben Enan. Now, what we see in this passage is something of great significance, and that is that worship is commanded by God, and we see that God dictates how we worship Him. I think that is a principle that is really being forgotten today by the body of believers. We tend to want to worship God in what makes sense to us or what we think will be pleasing to those who attend. As I've said before, this is not worship. Worship is always directed to God, and the objective is to please Him. And if we're going to please Him, we have to worship Him, notice in spirit, meaning we have to be born again, and in truth, we have to utilize the truth of God, which is the Word of God, and not to invent things. So I would just simply say, when it comes to worship, we need to be very sure that what we're doing is biblically correct, that it has a verse or more than one verse that condones and says this is the right thing to do. Because if we're not worshiping God as He demands, we're not going to receive the changes that He makes in our life through worship. And if we're not experiencing these changes, we're not going to grow, we're not going to mature, and we're not going to be ready for the wonderful future that God has for His people. So we see here, and there's one more section left that we're going to deal with, a very important one that teaches us much about worship. So I look forward to next week when we gather together to look at that last part of chapter 7. We're going to see that it has an inherent connection to the benefits of receiving forgiveness, the change that forgiveness should make in our life. And through that change, we're going to see that we have access to God and with God. And that is a good thing. That is what we should want to experience, godly change in our life. And when we approach God with that mindset, with that desire, God, I come before you to worship you, and I am looking for the changes that you want to make in my life. I invite you to make those changes. I realize that I need them, that I can only mature, I can only be used by God, I can only accomplish your purposes and your plans if you make these changes in my life. So we should be praising God, thanking God, praying to God in regard to such changes. God's able to make them, and He's able to make them in a moment. But if we're not asking, if we're not seeking that, if we're not desiring that, then we're not going to experience that. Understand that worship has many benefits attached to it. As we worship God, what is worship? It is drawing near to Him, His presence. And it's when we are in His presence that He will begin to make changes in our life. That's a good thing. And such changes can only be accomplished through being in the presence of God, experiencing Him, knowing Him, getting to understand how He functions in this world, why He moves and why He does not move at times. God's always right. It's always justified in the decisions that He makes because of who He is. But nevertheless, we need to be people that understand our role as servants of God. We should seek obedience for the sake of gathering rewards, because these rewards manifest, they share with others who we are because of believing in the gospel. We should want to demonstrate our faith. We should want to give testimony to what God has done and what He's currently doing in our life today. If we don't do that, we're not going to be found faithful. We're not going to be pleasing to Him. We're going to be a disappointment. And the purpose that our organization exists is to make sure that we're not a disappointment to God or a regret, but God is well pleased with that desire to save us, providing what's necessary for that salvation so that we can demonstrate we belong to Him. So I'll close with this. When people look at you, and they are looking at you, do they see a person that is committed to biblical truth and understand the promises, the prophetic promises that God has made to His people? We have a wonderful future. The question is, are we living in a way that is demonstrating the future that God has prepared for us? What did Messiah say? I'm going away to prepare a place for you, that where I am, you will be always. Good news. Let us worship God in light of that good news of the gospel. Well, I'll close with that. Until next week, Shalom from Israel.
Well, we hope you will benefit from today's message and share it with others. Please plan to join us each week at this time and on this channel for our broadcast of LoveIsrael.org. Again, to find out more about us, please visit our website, LoveIsrael.org. There you will find articles and numerous other lectures by Baruch. These teachings are in video form. You may download them or watch them in streaming video. Until next week, may the Lord bless you in our Messiah Yeshua, that is Jesus, as you walk with Him. Shalom from Israel.